So tonight, I don't think we've done this before, having a panel discussion quite like this, at least that I can remember in the last 4 years. So I've got a bunch of questions lined up for our panelists up here about Google I/O. But feel free to go to this URL, ribbit.blue/ggcincy, and if you want to put your own questions in there, they will show up here. And you can upvote them to see which things people are interested in talking about. And we'll go from there. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys kind of do your own introductions and tell us a little bit about yourself. And we'll start with Amy.
Sure, yeah. I'm Amy. I'm a front-end developer at a startup downtown. It's called BlackbookHR. I'm a career switcher, so I'm pretty new to the field, but I'm having a lot of fun. And I do have to plug GDI Cincy because they're the ones that got me started in my tech career.
So I'm Stephen McWhorter. I work as an Android team lead for a large retailer here in Cincinnati. Started out doing .NET development many years ago, and when mobile phones came out, I'm like, wow, this stuff is way cooler than web pages. So I decided to move my career to mobile, and really just, I don't know, just been enjoying the ride ever since. You know, being the team lead now, I don't write code as much. So being involved in communities like this helped me stay involved kind of in the lower level stuff of the Android.
I'm Greg Williams, one of the co-organizers for GDG Cincinnati. Android or a Java developer for a long time, and I started doing Android development way back, even before 1.0 was out, and then kind of just started doing it on the side for a local company, and eventually I got a gig doing it full time, and so I've been doing that ever since. So like right now I'm working at .loop, local company downtown. We just rolled out their first Android app, actually the day before Google I/O, or 2 days before, no, the day before Google I/O, and then so yeah, that's pretty much it. Just
You pushed production and then took off for 4 days like a boss.
Yeah. And oh yeah, so I'm also a Google Ion, which means that I've been to all of the Google I/Os, so it's kind of cool, fun.
Cool. So before we get to my questions, remember if you can put yours up here too, and then we'll get to them. So first question I have for everyone: what was the most exciting announcement that you heard at Google I/O?
Most exciting. Actually, I would say a lot of the tool enhancements around Android Studio and the ability to automate or to generate espresso tests just by having them record. I thought that was really cool. I mean, as a developer, that's pretty exciting to me.
So for me, I think Google Home and the Google Assistant are going to be game changers. You know, right now we're in the year of mobile, but I think the year of AI is coming here really shortly. And Google Home, if they can get it to be what that inspirational video was, oh my God, who would not want that? Like, I'm just sitting there looking at that, like that blows Amazon Echo out of the water. Like, who wouldn't want that? So I'm really excited to see what Google Home does, what developers are able to do with it, because we're the ones going to be able to extend that into the household and make it really useful for all of us. So Google Assistant, I think, is going to be amazing too. Be able to chat with Google, kind of it be one of your friends that you can ask information and help you. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, jumping off that, I thought Google Assistant was the coolest thing for me. They did this little game where you could play like the emoji game, and it would give you different emojis, and you had to tell it what the movie was, and that was pretty fun. Yeah, the assistant thing I think is probably the most exciting thing about.
They have demos that you guys got the chance to play with? Google Home or just the?
No, it's
No.
just a little plastic thing. I think they presented on stage.
Yeah.
I got so excited when they pulled it
Yeah,
out.
I know.
was
Well, I was gonna.
like, yeah, I looked under my chair too.
No, nothing there.
You're-
Which was funny because they had stadium seating, so
Yeah.
they were all folded up. So there was nothing under the chair, but I still looked.
Yeah.
Have you do some, because right now people also do the, WWDC, they have Siri, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever, compared, how you do the compare to? I mean,
We used to have an iPhone.
Yeah, I used to have an iPhone, and I mean Siri was okay. I think Apple does a really good job making Siri work for very specific use cases. Like you ask it
Yeah.
something very specific, and it'll give you the right answer, and they've added a lot of fun, gave it a slight personality, which is cute. But I think Google, Google, you can just talk to it. You can just ask it questions like a real person, and it does a pretty good job at answering you. Plus, not having a button, I think that for me using Siri, pressing the button was a stopgap for me. Having to press and hold for Siri to listen to me just made me not want to use it. With Google, I don't have to do that. I think Google's just way ahead of the game in terms of being able to ask it all kinds of natural queries. Siri, I think one day I was trying to come here and I asked Siri, how to get to 71 North, and it took me on a road that was on top of 71 North, so I didn't really use it much after that.
Is that Siri or or Apple Maps?
It was kind of both. I talked to Siri, and it took me to Apple Maps, and it took me to the wrong
Yeah,
spot.
that's which year?
I think that was
Couple years
a
ago.
couple years ago, so I'm sure it's improved quite a bit.
Yeah, I will say I have both in my house, iPhone and Android devices, and the voice recognition is much better on all the Android devices, but I think the personality is what makes Siri just a little bit different, but I wouldn't say that's like, I don't really use Siri that often, so.
But I kind of feel too that when Apple announced Siri, it was pretty revolutionary, but then they just kind of like rested on their laurels for the
Yeah.
last couple of years and not really extended it like Amazon and Google
Mhm.
have.
I know they opened their APIs to Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how much it matures from there.
I think this year they want to do the catch up because they definitely want to compete with Google, also the Amazon.
Mhm.
How does the Google Assistant, the device at home, work with mobile people? Did they talk about
I
that at all?
think it's like an app on your phone, and then it
Okay.
just integrates. So the big example they use with it, it's called Ello, I think. I don't know if, it's already an app you can use, but I don't think it's integrated with the Assistant just yet. And it's just like a messaging app. And I think once they establish that ground, they're gonna go out into other apps, as far as I know. That's what it sounded like.
As far as details on the assistant, we didn't really get any. There wasn't an actual talk about the Google Assistant. It was like this.
It's like it's like one of the typical little teasers that they typically give you at I/O. Not a lot of details. Like in the past, they've talked about Google at Home and some of the other things, and then you just don't typically hear any more about them.
Yeah. I got a question on that one later too, so. Kind of funny when you're excited about the espresso test recorder. Have you
Yes.
used it yet?
I haven't actually, because we actually have, at .loop, we have people who actually write our automation tests using Appium. But one of the things that we want to look into is, can we replace Appium with Espresso? Because so what they're trying to do right now is that they're using Appium, and they have the same scripts for both Android and iOS, and they just like customize them. We feel that they don't really do that good of a job, and we'd rather so I know the iOS folks want to use something that's more on their platform, and we think that Espresso might be a better fit for Android, so we're planning on looking into that, but I haven't actually looked at
So,
it yet.
so the iOS also can talk to Google Home? Or just for Android?
I don't think that was.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
wasn't specifically detailed, but I think something different about this I/O was almost everything that they released was compatible with both platforms. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of cross-platform support. I think Allo is going to come to iOS. I think they did say that.
Yeah, actually
Not
both of
yet, but.
both of Allo and what was it?
Duo.
Duo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Duo I thought was kind of cool too. I like the camera coming on before you answer the phone.
Knock knock.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
Knock, knock
kind of
feature.
creepy.
Yeah.
It was slightly creepy, but if you think about it, I mean,
It turns south very fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
like.
doesn't
Do I look
actually-
like
Yeah.
a normal human being at this moment in time? I don't want to be able to see it.
well, yeah. So the receiver's camera doesn't come on. It's just the
Right.
person who's calling. And you know, I think if you're making a phone call, a video call, you kind of expect that you're already on camera when they answer it. So, or could be on camera at any minute. So, I don't think it's that creepy, but I think it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. I'd be interested to play with that. I know Patrick's looking forward to it. I'm gonna get all these weird calls.
Maybe. Okay. So what things, because you guys were there, did you get to experience at I/O that people who weren't there didn't get to experience? Whether it's some of the VR demos that they may have had with Daydream or some of the ACAP demos. I don't know if they had that again this year.
Yeah, they did.
Did it? Okay, cool. Interesting discussions, things related to Alphabet, not Google stuff, but the other things that they're doing that they didn't talk about. Other groups you may encountered, talked to.
I don't know if you guys went there's like a little music tent that was kind of off to the side, behind the like paint cube or whatever, but they had a cardboard demo, and I'd never used cardboard before, so it was interesting to me, and they had like an experience where you're listening to Bohemian Rhapsody, and then you can like flip around while this like concert's going on, and they have you on a stool and these like really nice headphones, and so this whole time you just feel really immersed. And I haven't like played with my cardboard at home yet, but I was really excited that I got to try it there with someone that had it all set up. They had the phone and everything there. All you had to do was hit play, and it was just a blast. I think that was my favorite part. And you could like, it was just like the hidden details of like things behind you. And I guess this was my first time really playing in virtual reality too. So it's a really good experience.
Yeah, one of the at the after hours party, apparently I didn't actually go because it was freezing cold.
They had blankets.
Did they? There was kind of a long line, but they had with the Project Tango guns where you could play this game where you were like killing zombies and stuff like that, and it was that looked pretty cool. So that would have been fun to do.
Yeah, the after parties were amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
Google really knows how to throw a party. But I think for me, like during the event, so you could go to all the different talks, but if you chose to skip a talk and go to some of the app clinics, that was pretty powerful. I got to meet, someone from their Google Play editorial staff. I got to talk to her, some pointers on what we can do to kind of grow engagement. They also had a material design kind of tent where you could, present your app, and they could give you pointers on how to follow the material design guidelines. You don't get access to engineers and designers unless you're there. You can't just email, you can't just call somebody from Google up, but everyone's really accessible. Even after the talks, you could just walk up to Adam Powell or Eaton or Chet and say, hey, well, maybe not Chet, but I know the other folks, you could just have a casual conversation, and they were pretty open to it. So I think that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, Magnus
Yeah.
was there talking about Firebase. He was in the Firebase office hours. And then, like, I know two of the other So like everybody from my development team got a ticket this year. So they actually, we had just launched our app and they took it to the material design clinic and had them take a look at it. And they actually gave it really good reviews. You know, there was obviously a few things that they felt that we could do to change, you know, to, you know, make it better. So that was kind of informative.
They were a little stuffed on ours.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the
Yeah.
Kroger?
Huh?
Is it the Kroger app?
It was just, we just have so much stuff in there, and, you know, they really encouraged folks to think about who your audience is, you know, what's the primary problem you're trying to solve for your users, and, you know, we have we have a lot of different types of users who use the app in a lot of different ways, so we cater to everybody. So, you know, bringing the app to them, to the app clinic, and say, hey, can you help me out? You know, I think they were kind of overwhelmed on how to help me, because, you know, our app does follow the material design guidelines quite well. I think I'm pretty proud of that. But, you know, how do we focus the app so it's you know, it's solving one problem, and that one problem really well, and that's just right now not our strategy.
I will say one other thing that was cool was, and it wasn't really like technical or job related, was the projects where they were doing different musical augmented reality things. So they had like a guitar that was just made, it was just a piece of cardboard cut out, and then you would stick notes on it and strum it, and it would, the phone would pick up each note that you were holding down and strum, and then you could play different songs. And there were just things that I was really excited to see how people in the community were using the technology that I'd never even thought of, and that was like kind of inspiring. That's what I like to bring to my workplace.
Like the alphabet stuff, so to kind of, you know, decouple a lot of the other fun projects from Google. Do they have any of those things to show off, or was it mostly just a pure Google conference?
It was pretty much pure Google. They did have the ATAP presentation. You can watch that on YouTube. But a lot of it was just an update on last year's stuff. So at first I was kind of upset that I didn't get into that one, but then I heard that, you know, it was going to be recorded. Last year it wasn't recorded, so that's why I was like kind of upset. But so.
I think ATAP was the only talk that they allowed like overflow.
Yeah.
So the lines were, you know, I don't know if you guys heard, but the lines were really, really long. I mean, I didn't even get into half the talks I wanted to go to, which was pretty disappointing. But the ATAP talk, they actually allowed standing, you to stand, or the other talks they would not allow that. And they wouldn't even allow you to have your bag on the floor. You put your bag on the floor, and you were asked to kind of pick it up. But yeah, the ATAP talk is definitely amazing. They're coming out with the Jacquard Levi's jacket with the you know, touch sensitive fibers, and it's going to be pretty amazing. Project Soli is amazing. Yeah, they kind of reiterated on those particular products and made them smaller and ready for production. So if you don't know what those things are, the Jacquard, the wearable fabric, and the radar detector, Project Soli, it'll blow your mind. Definitely go and watch the ATAP talks.
They talked about the jacket, but I heard that they kind of dropped the pants thing that they were going to do from last year. But I am excited about the jacket if they
Yeah, it was kind of
through with that, even though it's only in men's, but I'll wear a men's jacket.
I don't know if I'd ride a bicycle in it.
Yeah.
That's a little
Yeah,
hot.
the commercial was a little.
Yeah. Maybe if you're in California.
And
where
it never
it's-
rains and.
It's like 70 degrees.
Yeah.
yeah.
Washington?
Yep.
You have to take out the sensors, the like sensitive pieces, and then you can wash it. I don't know if they went over that. I didn't get to see it. I just looked it up a lot later.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of pairing device that snaps to one of the buttons,
Yeah.
but the actual fibers that can sense the touch, yeah, you can wash it, you can throw it down, you can get it muddy. It's meant to be like a regular, like what you would do
Denim
with
jacket.
jeans, yeah.
It's not just jeans with two phones glued on.
Right.
No.
Do they show off the Google car? I mean,
They had it like quarantined, so you couldn't like get in it or or watch it drive around. Are you talking about the self-driving car or Google Drive?
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
for Google.
Yeah, they just had it kind of sitting there, and there was maybe like a little commercial playing about it, but
No demo.
I was hoping the shuttles were gonna be
Yeah.
self-driving cars, and they
Yeah.
weren't.
I did see one drive around on
Did you?
Tuesday. Yeah,
Oh,
just
fun.
one. It
On
was just
Tuesday?
It was on Tuesday. It went
Okay.
down Shoreline Drive, but other than that, I didn't see one again.
Yeah, I only got in Tuesday night, so.
Mm.
Someone doing a little bit of testing.
Yeah.
So how mature the Google Home? I mean, can they implement on the Android SDK right now, or is that, I mean, developer can jump in now, or that take some time?
I don't think they
I
have
don't
the
think they mentioned that.
SDK
No,
yet.
not yet. So they didn't say when they can.
No,
I thought they said they could give us more details till December. It was kind of like everything that was really exciting wasn't coming out until the end of summer
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
December, unfortunately.
I think they have a website that you can sign up to be notified when the SDK and the product matures.
Yeah, I definitely remember too that they were planning on having at least one of their project Tango devices in the fall, so that would be kind of cool. They have, right now they have the developer, Project Tango developer unit, which to me looks like a Nexus 7 with like a whole bunch of augmented sensor pack on the side, on the back, so.
Didn't Lenovo just announce they have a Tango phone? Like a week or two ago?
Was it a Tango phone or was it the one for the, their virtual reality?
Not really a Tango phone.
Oh, was it?
I think it was a Daydream.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something that was a little disappointing. So they showcased Daydream, but they didn't give out any specs on what a Daydream phone is going to be. I was really hoping like, yay, your 6P is Daydream ready. That would have been pretty awesome, but I'm afraid we'll all probably have to buy new phones.
I'm waiting, I'm ready. So given everything that you saw and heard out there, what are the things that you're excited to start bringing back today you can use now, instead of waiting until the end of the year?
I think Firebase was the only thing that was kind of ready, and I believe they got bought actually a year ago, so this was kind of like the update to that.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of talks on using it, but I don't know if I'm ready to convince my team to start using it, especially because we're only a web app,
Yeah.
so we don't really have any mobile development. But, I mean, it sounded cool.
Yeah, I would say the same. Firebase, I was surprised how much they doubled down on Firebase.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was the real-time database, which was really intriguing, but now, you have crash reporting, you have A/B testing, the remote config, you have, deep links, and analytics. It's very comprehensive. So if you're using Fabric, I think this, you have an opportunity to try out Firebase and coalesce all those capabilities into that. I'm really interested in trying Firebase out, 'cause I know I've been wanting to do it for a long time, so this is kind of give me an excuse to do that. The other things, like constraint layout and stuff like that, it's going to take us a little bit of time to get there. Firebase seems more plug and play,
Yeah.
more ready to go.
Last year, they announced the cloud test lab for basically be able to run
Mhm.
instrumentation tests on a bunch of different virtual Android devices. And I finally did that the other day with Firebase, and it actually worked pretty decently.
Yeah, it sounded like it was
It's-
pretty easy to implement.
I've got a bunch of devices back in the closet. I don't think I'm buying quite as many of those now.
They actually had a real test lab set up in one of the tents, where they had a whole bunch of Dell servers and physical devices connected to it. And you could watch like a Firebase console take an app deployed in a whole bunch of devices. And it's really not that different than what you have set up back there,
Yeah.
just on a bigger scale. I think everything about Firebase is free minus that.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I think the database part there might be some provision.
Yeah,
in the
there's-
database at cost. Oh, and I set up a static website Firebase the other day,
Mm.
and with SSL and everything, it took like 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
the easiest website I've ever set up in my life.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with Firebase.
Yeah.
And the dashboarding tool is pretty.
You can build a developer experience with something they care about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I use the new Android Studio and a lot of the new features of Android Studio. I like the new view. So there's like the blueprints mode and all that. I really like that. We haven't committed to like using the constraint layout yet, but I'm kind of thinking about it.
Well, Gunshine, that one, having seen iOS people struggle with
Yeah.
auto layout, and it's looking a lot like that.
Oh, there was one other thing. I have a Pebble, and they had like a whole assortment of Android wearables that were out, and that was the one that you could pick up today. There was I can't remember what the model was called, but it was like really fitness focused. So it was so sensitive that it could tell when you were doing like, I don't know what these are called, like bicep
Curls.
exercises. Yeah, and it could like, if the guy was showing me, it could do like all, it could sense what you were doing, how many you were doing, for how long. It was really neat how sensitive it was, just because I like my Pebble because it works with my iPhone, but it can't do that much.
Yeah.
Wear devices connect to iPhone now.
Oh, do they?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time, Pebble was the only one that would talk
Yeah.
besides a Apple Watch. And I can't spend $10,000 on a watch.
Yeah, they've gotten cheaper. They've gotten a lot cheaper.
Yeah. But the other thing too is the Pebble has the 7-day battery life,
Mhm.
which I don't think anything else can touch that.
No.
They were also, I forget who it was that was coming out with watches for women. They're a little smaller. I'm trying to remember who.
Fossil?
Was it?
Michael Kors?
No, it
Both
was
of them
an
are, yeah.
existing. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
they look really pretty.
Mhm.
Are they like really expensive? 10,000.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even try. I saw it, was like, oh, I want that, but I'll stick with my $100 watch.
Yeah. I got my free one from 2 years ago.
So what about past Google technologies that didn't get a whole lot of attention, whether it be Glass or Android Home or Nexus Q?
Next to Q, I'm pretty sure it's dead. Let's see. Yeah, Glass. I was kind of expecting to hear something about Glass 2.0, but I'm kind of to the point where I don't think. I think they're just going to let that die. I mean, it's going to be like a niche market for very specific things. I think they got the feedback from the general public that no, we don't want people wearing cameras on their face. So.
I was really excited to do that.
It was weird too because that really wasn't the feature that I liked most about Glass. I just like the notification assistant.
Yeah.
So that when the watch came out, I kind of just like lost interest in Glass.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I can say the same thing.
I don't really, nothing really comes to mind on this one.
Yeah, can you remember things that you forgot? This is
Yeah.
also my first iPhone,
Yeah,
so
so-
I don't really have a basis
Yeah.
to look at. And I've only been in development for about 8 months, so probably haven't been as focused on the technologies coming out.
They didn't talk about Google Wave.
Well, they had the other app they released right before it, and I haven't heard anything about that.
Google Spaces?
Yes, Spaces.
And what is that exactly?
I'm not entirely sure.
Spaces, I think they
Space.
deprecated.
We just released it right before I got it. No Spaces.
There was-
one of their new ones. It came out with Duo. Spaces
Oh.
Duo is a third one, I think. Was that Google Plus? Oh.
No, there's not a lot of talk about Google Plus.
No,
Right now.
who's been talking about Google Plus?
Well,
They plugged in the Android app. It's like.
The guy who championed that was Vic Gundutra, and he's no longer with Google. So.
Yeah. What's your guys' favorite part about Google I/O?
Least favorite.
Well,
It's
most
always
favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
most favorite. Place the least.
And then we'll touch on the other questions.
Most favorite part.
Was running into me, right?
Yeah, that's it. I would have to say, I really like the keynote. Being at the keynote is just, it's just amazing. I know some people don't even go to the keynote, but I don't know, that's one of my favorite parts.
Were they in the grass? Is that why? That's what
No,
I
I mean,
can imagine. why you wouldn't go.
like, one of the girls that I went with, from our company, she'd been to 2 other Google I/Os, and she's like, yeah, I never go to the keynote. I'm like, why? It's so cool. She's like, yeah, I don't care, and I can watch it later if I want.
Oh, goodness. I haven't been to any before, but I was told that the line system was way better at the new location, or not the new location, but at the different location. I don't know, it didn't take very long to get in there.
Yeah.
I
For the
had
keynote,
experience.
definitely
Yeah.
it was much better.
Yeah, for the keynote only. I don't talk about any of the other talks.
I don't know, it was my first I/O, so almost everything was awesome. I guess I was just kind of caught up in the whole thing. The keynote was amazing, the atmosphere was amazing. I mean, every detail that Google did was like it was just over the top. I mean, even the construction of all the tents and booths, they used high quality, craftsmanship and everything that they did. So I thought that just spoke a lot when you're there.
Gigantic.
The showmanship of the event was totally amazing. I mean, minus the long lines,
Yeah.
but I think my favorite part was just the diversity in the people that were there. I mean, I would stand in line and, I met somebody from New Zealand. Like, they flew all the way to New Zealand to come to I/O. We had a pretty big connection. We hung out quite a bit, and just meeting folks who are solving kind of the same problems that you're having. Dealing with some of the same things with product management and what to do with this feature and what kind of build problems you're having, just kind of being able to discuss Android development with anybody from around the world, I thought was pretty awesome.
How do they make money from Android?
From what?
How do they make money from Android? I mean, because it's free, right? I mean, for manufacturer.
Their biggest revenue is ad revenue,
So,
right?
because-
So it's just one of the many platforms that they, get their ad revenue from.
By using their.
I mean, putting Google services in as many devices and platforms as possible, whether that's iOS, Android, Chrome OS, Chrome. It's just getting Google services out there and getting impressions through ads. I think that's their strategy.
And the intelligence that they're getting about users,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that's leading into some of the other stuff they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, how do you? I mean, their AI is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger because of all this data that's coming in from every channel. They can perfect their models to make that AI even stronger.
Yeah, I saw I forget who it was, but it was really impressive. They were doing like how machine learning tags photos, and there was a picture of a dog, but not only did it know the dog, but it knew the breed of the dog,
Yeah.
which that's pretty impressive because I don't think most people can do that.
I think it did a couple different, I don't know, in the keynote they had like a dog and cat. They were like, even like a picture with the dog with the person smiling and like all of these like really fine details that I would not have expected Google Photos to be able to take away from just one picture.
Their AlphaGo is very impressive. They show that AlphaGo, the artificial intelligence, to go with the machine.
No.
They just beat the world go.
Oh, the Go. Oh,
Yeah,
AlphaGo.
yeah.
AlphaGo. Yeah.
That's very impressive. They beat South Korea. That's the top guy.
Yeah.
For $1 million, right? They buy $1 million.
Well, I mean, the technology behind that is now open to all of us. TensorFlow is open source, and all of us can download it and put that kind of AI in all of our apps. I mean, that's what powers all of their top apps, from search to voice, Gmail. I mean, TensorFlow is kind of underpinning a lot of that stuff. The fact that they've allowing us to be part of that is pretty awesome.
How do you
Right.
how do you feel about the announcement for Hello, the chat app?
I'm excited to use it.
I'm excited to use it if iOS folks used it. I think Lynch is on that for it to be successful, to replace Hangouts if that's their goal.
I think it's probably just a, so they've transitioned from Google Talk a long time ago to a bunch of different things. The Google Hangouts is just one of the latest victims of getting rolled into the next app. So, I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be even better than Hangouts. I kind of like Hangouts.
I've heard Allo's already kind of got its foot in the door, and that a lot of people that have to make international calls really like it. That's what they just use instead of Hangouts and everything, like more than they use their own like native phone things. So I think it's already got a strong base there, and it's only going to get better once they start adding in more features and adding in that Google Assistant AI.
Did they mention if you were able to sign up with size using a phone number? Because I know they talked about that a lot, but is that the only way to sign up to use it? You just use like a Google account?
That I don't think they talked, at least not in the keynote. I don't know if they had any separate talks about it. Not that I at least went to.
I don't think there was any talks on Allo and Duo specifically. It was kind of like, here's this really cool thing we're going to release.
Later.
Just kind of like a big tease.
I kind of expect that if it catches on, then next year there'll be talks on how to integrate with
Yeah.
Allo as a developer.
Yeah. Did they mention if Allo will do SMS? If not, how do you think this chat network will catch on with all the established networks already out there?
I don't remember that being talked about off the top of my head.
Right now they've got, Messenger and Hangouts. I think it's all Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hangouts does SMS though, right?
Not
They
well.
Not-
Not very well, but it does.
Yeah.
It tries.
Yeah.
They talked a lot about testing that and trying to make it better. There was definitely a lot of how to deal with having a problem and things like that. Not great hardware too, because I think they made a big push to say that you should be able to test on phones that aren't very good, like because most of the growing population of people that don't have phones are in India, and they're more likely to choose like a maybe not a more expensive phone, but it has the basics and it works. So you should be able to target that market and really have
Yep.
your stuff thrive there.
Yeah, they were saying that in some of the places in Asia, people don't have home phones. The vast majority of the population just has mobile phones to communicate. So, and that I think smartphone adoption is a lot higher there than in the United States.
Cool. We're talking about there's not a public API for Google Assistant, Google you're aware of, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's all supposed to be stuff announced later.
Like this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully. The keynote was just like really inspiring, but like each time they got your hopes up, they're like, oh, but it's not going to be out or available for you, and even get the specs until
This
end
fall.
of summer, fall, December next year.
Did they have any demo units that Google Home that you talked to?
I didn't see one. Even at the Nest booth section, I didn't
Yeah.
see anything like that.
They did have this cool thing though. It wasn't Nest. It was like a third-party integration where it was like a lock for your front door that you could use your phone on, and then it would unlock for you, so you don't have to get your keys out. That was exciting. Unrelated, but
Yeah.
My worry with
That's
all of
scary.
those,
Yeah.
like, lock type things is like, what's the fail safe? Does it unlock so that you don't get locked out, or does it lock so that other people can't get in?
I don't know. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of explanation because I guess it was just a model.
Yeah.
It didn't actually work.
Did it still have a backup key?
Yeah, I think so. It is a model, so like
Yeah.
it didn't do anything really.
Yeah.
So if you really
But
need
it was
to walk around
in the
with it.
model. It had a little keyhole, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
most immediately useful talk you saw?
Immediately useful.
Hmm.
I saw something on Rails, which when I went to it, I thought it was going to be Ruby on Rails, and it was not. Yeah, it was about responsiveness,
Oh, yeah.
idle, animation, and loading. Which, if you have not heard of Google's version of Rails, you should look into it. Though it might, you have to like look up Rails, probably one of what it stands for, and then performance. But it was just like kind of metrics for how to make sure that your app is performing to the correct standards. And it also kind of like prioritized different things. Like you might think loading would be the most important, the thing that needs to be fastest, but it's actually like responsiveness and what it's doing when it's idle that they believe is the most important in keeping users engaged. So.
So it was a more UX style talk, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. I hadn't heard about that one yet. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I was really excited because I thought it was going to be something with DevTools and Rails,
Yeah.
but it was not the Rails I
Yeah.
thought.
I think for me, the most useful, there were so many of them. I think so Yeet did a talk on designing for the next billion, which is a lot about application architecture. I think one of the biggest takeaways overall was, Google isn't, as stewards of the platform, they're not going to tell you how to architect your app, just because it changes. Its architectures kind of come and go, but how do you design your app that's still responsive? Should it be driven by user experience? We often think of, we want to design architecture based on technical requirements, but your architecture should be really driven off the user experience. And he kind of goes into what you can do to follow that type of paradigm. Think of local storage as your friend, being able to persist data to local storage, and your UI and your models should be talking together regardless of what the network and your storage is doing. I thought that was pretty useful. And then there was another talk on design guidelines. The person who came up with the material design, she's kind of the gatekeeper for the material design guidelines. She did a talk on, how do you don't make assumptions in your app as far as a design standpoint, and she put together this document, the top 20 tips if you want to build your app and build your app for users. I thought that talk was pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
One of the cool talks I went to was on reCAPTCHA, which is kind of odd. You're thinking reCAPTCHA, who cares about that? But so you know what CAPTCHA is? It's the thing that you have to enter
To prove that you're human.
to prove that you're human. And reCAPTCHA is their re-implementation of that. And they were talking about all of the artificial intelligence that goes into determining whether, even before the person is there, I mean, what all the artificial intelligence that goes into predicting whether the person is a bot or a human, and so they're trying to get it so that they can get 90% of people don't even have to do anything, because they said that so part of their what makes reCAPTCHA work is that bots don't, if a CAPTCHA image is put up, they don't even attempt it. But humans will, and they'll try multiple times, and they typically don't get it right the first time. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting talk. Actually, that one was recorded, so it's a pretty interesting one. I thought it kind of applied to me, especially because just like the week before I went to I.O., I had to implement CAPTCHA for the Android app, and we're like, oh, man, I don't want to do CAPTCHA in an Android app. But so we signed up to be a beta user of the new reCAPTCHA, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, that's super neat.
Yeah.
But couldn't Google just use their machine learning to identify what's in the picture and answer the captcha anyway?
And use their knowledge for good on
Yeah.
Google, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you hope of Google.
Everyone excited about the new emojis?
Yeah, there's women in tech emojis, not to
Oh, I didn't even-
toot my own horn. I thought that was exciting. I know they released that like a month or so ago before I.O. even happened, but that was cool. It made it all the way to the keynote.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You have big emojis and small emojis too.
Yeah.
That's really.
Yeah, you
something.
can like yell your messages
Yeah.
instead of having caps lock, which is neat because I am a frequent user of caps lock when I get very excited. So it's nice to be able to express myself.
It's probably a ACAP thing. Anything about Project Arrow? That's the componentized or modular Lego
Oh.
phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like talked about
Yeah.
maybe in one of the tents or something.
I remember,
Yeah, they.
I remember going to one and them talking about it, but
I guess they're really building it. They really they are building it, and they're. I kind of think the target is people with GoPros. You're
Yeah.
gonna take this camera and you want it like a wide angle lens, or you want a 4K lens, or you want to swap it. You don't need a camera. You can put in a bigger battery. I kind of feel like it's for people who are going to be kind of outdoorsy, kind of on the go, and need a device that's
yeah.
special for a particular use case. But yeah, they're building it and they're dedicated to it. They have a big team around that device. And during the ATAP talk, if you go look at that, that was one of the big announcements that is not going away, and they're dedicated to the project. I was surprised, to be honest.
People want to talk about it, but they disassembled it and left it in parts of the community conference.
No, they actually had a real device. They showed a real device, yeah.
Yeah, I remember whatever session it was that I went to, the guy was like, he had it in his hand while he was talking. He was like taking pieces out and putting pieces in. It was kind of neat.
Yeah,
in a strange way.
There may be a whole market around it because the interface is going to be some kind of standard where device manufacturers can build huggable pieces. So maybe there'll be like a whole kind of platform market around that device.
What about Internet of Things? I'm guessing it's a reference to Brillo or that was announced last year.
Ah.
They didn't really talk about it.
I mean, that's kind of the reason I got this whole on-mode at home thinking I was going to fly into that future. And nothing is.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
It's an awesome
Sorry,
router.
Fred.
it's one of those things where they talk about it and then they don't really market it. It's just kind of underneath the covers for all of their stuff. So I think Brillo and Weave are going to be around.
Yeah.
And I do remember them mentioning something about there's a whole slew of products now that support it. So.
Yeah, I didn't hear any talk about those, but I'm hoping that the home,
Yeah,
home's going to be
that's
able to
nice.
interface with your phone and all these lighting and garage doors and Chromecast. And hopefully Weave is underpinning all that
Yeah.
stuff.
The
But,
Nest stuff.
yeah, but they didn't talk. There was no specific talks about that.
Okay. Compared to WWDC this year, which developer event did you find was more interesting or better? Just judging by what you've seen so far.
Well, I kind of felt that the WWDC keynote was like a rerun of previous years. A lot of the stuff was just catching up with Android type of things.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, and I was hoping Apple would come up to bat with something really big. I mean, they have big emojis now, and
I didn't even
lot
watch
of,
it. So.
stickers for iMessages. I think that's
Yeah.
cute. Some people will use that.
It's already in Hangouts though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can place the stickers anywhere you want.
Oh.
Have animations on the whole screen.
Okay.
It's neat.
But you can't but the stickers can't yell, though, can
I think they caught up with photos. They're putting
Oh, yeah.
AI into iPhoto.
We introduced the Siri to the Mac too.
Siri to Mac.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their Apple Watch improved a lot. Before you have to load it, right? Now it loads instantly, so it's you can